All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful day. It was a pretty stale day in the markets today, and even though we woke up to a barrage of headlines, the market went nowhere, and now for the rest of the week, we are pricing in less than a 1% move. So, Chad, we got a lot to talk about. I'm going to go over how to find the pricing of the market. I'm going to go over the keys, what happened today, the plays that we made, the plays we have for tomorrow, and everything else. So what I need from you, a thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open, youtube.com/the stock market. We will see you there in the morning, baby. Run it.
Working to the couch, it's the 2020 last shit. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Feel how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the last shit, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
Right off the bat, like we said yesterday, the market was going to be mild. And even though we did absolutely nothing and barely moved, by the looks of it in the morning, it seemed like we had a lot to react to. Crypto was ripping and going crazy. We had news that Boeing CEO was retiring or resigning, stepping down from the company. The company shot up. There was news that AMD and Intel are getting restrictions by the government for the AI chips. They were down and then they ripped up. Then SMCI and NVIDIA went crazy. We got to hear a little bit more about the budget, and then there was all of the headlines about the drama and political tensions that we were getting with the war, Russia, Ukraine, and even some of those attacks that we saw over the weekend. So there was a lot to digest, but really right off the bat, it just led into a gap down and a sell-off, and then we barely moved. The range was tight. It was one of the lowest volumes that we have had all year. So now moving forward, it is a short week. So Friday, the market is going to be closed. We will be getting some data, and this is kind of what we were expecting. Not much to react to, even though there is a ton of data. We're not really thinking the market's going to move after everything we got, so keep that in mind. But moving forward for tomorrow, we have a lot of data. There's going to be the durable goods, the Red Book, home prices, the Conference Board of Consumer Confidence, and the Richmond Fed, as well as Dallas Fed services. And even though it's a lot more headline data, we are not expecting too big of a move. So I'll go over how we got that 0.8 priced in, but the other factor you got to be watching out for this week, besides any of that data, there is a ton of bond auctions. The supply keeps increasing, and it's probably going to make a lot of headlines. Even to start this week, the fun fact was that the current bond market is now about 6 to 7 times larger than the bond market in 2019. That is due to all of these sales. So tomorrow we get a 5-year auction. There's going to be another big 7-year auction. We'll see if this could move everything else, but we have all the data. But even including PCE on Friday, the market is pricing in less than 1%. So now, how do we go about figuring that out? Well, if you've been watching and kept up the tabs with all of the earnings videos, this option chain and finding out what's priced in, this shouldn't be too unfamiliar. And well, you could do the same exact thing for any given day or again any given week. It usually works with the catalyst, but in this case, we're just going to go to the end of the week. Remember, it's a short week, so the last day of this week is going to be March 28th. We're going to go to the at-the-money straddles. Stocks at like 519. I guess we could go with the 520s. Take the at-the-money strike prices. We're going to go with 177 and 212 and add those up. That leaves us with 389. You go over here, this one says 417. There's not one priced in on the MMM, so 385 to 417. We'll just go with the middle number, and I think we're going to go with $4 flat. Then you go to the calculator, take that $4, divide that by the current price, 520. That's the one we use to do everything, and that leaves us with 0.0076. That's just under 0.8%. So if you go and do an at-the-money straddle on the S&P 500, it's going to cost you that amount. It is about 0.8% either up or down to break even, and that is what the market makers are charging by the end of Friday. That is what they think the market is going to move, because if they thought it would move more than that 0.8 or move less than that, they would charge more or less depending on that. So with all that being said, this is showing us that even though we have the PCE, even though we have all of those data events tomorrow, even though there's going to be all these bond auctions and we've seen wicked reactions in the past, the option market is not expecting too big of a move, and we shouldn't really be moving too much. So we'll see how that plays out. But if I could give you anything to keep in mind, there's a couple of things actually as far as the market moves. It's my second key here. We are entering the end of the month and the end of a quarter, so there are about to be some rebalancing effects towards the end of the month. Keep that in mind, but I will say don't let your guard down, but also don't get too hyped and go too crazy, but you might get some arbitrage opportunities, or we may see wild moves that move towards the end of the quarter, only to move really crazy at the start of a new quarter, or some things might calm down after having an epic quarter, but you will watch some movements here. It is an end of a month after a wild and wicked move, so that is something to keep in mind. And then the final thing, this is something just in general with how everything is played out, even this week as we move slow. I was saying this a lot today. It's like you had data. Even today, there was manufacturing goods as well as real estate, and it was bad, but there wasn't really a bond reaction, and the market barely moved. We are not responding to data. We are more so following a path. That is why every time something comes out, anytime it is data that looks like inflation's going up, even if we price out rate cuts, the main story, even after hearing Powell last week, is that the Fed is cutting rates, and they are confident that they are cutting rates by the end of the year, and the economy is not slipping. Everything is following that path. It is borderline the golden path, and one thing I would say, the real golden path is that anybody who believes in this and sees this right now, I think the real golden path is knowing that there is such a delay. You are going to be able to ride this sentiment for a decent amount of time until it shifts, and that is pretty much what has bought Powell and everybody else a lot of time here until we see what happens. But that being said, I think we're going to keep following this path here. The data shouldn't get in the way. We're not pricing a lot. We'll see as the data comes out and puts that theory to the test this week. It is a short week. Volume already started off low. We'll see how everything wraps up. Still a couple more plays. So now let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I got a couple of different plays for tomorrow. I did make a few plays today. I made one option play on Sanofi. They had a pop 4 or 5%, $10 option trade on an April 1. They ended up getting clapped. And then I flipped out Adobe shares. They dropped down to 500. I decided to go for another 50. Remember, I sold out for like a $200 loss after earnings. Made that play there on the dip buy. Sold out today for just under 500. So that was a good flip. Those were the only other two plays I made today. I was holding my bonds, and they were good in the morning and even last night, and then they faded. So still in a lot of those other plays from last week, but play number one, I got to start with this one. It's one we brought up last week, and they got a huge upgrade today, but Disney, it was Barclays, upgraded them and said they're expecting a huge earnings revision to the upside after them resetting all of the expectations last quarter. But we were just talking about this, even at these levels, 117, 118, all the way down to like 118 to like 127, it starts to get pretty crazy here because they have a lot of ground to make up for, and that was like a 1 year and a half high. So they're right there now at 118, or they hit 119 today. I think this is going to be on watch over the next few weeks because that big vote there, the whole Disney vote, they're doing the ads, the Nelson Peltz, that is going to be the first week of April. So going to keep my eyes out for them. The options move a little bit weird. I don't have any plays, only riding this one out for the long term, but definitely keeping this on watch over the next couple days. Maybe it gives back after the upgrade day, so just watch out for it. But this is play number one, definitely on watch over the next couple of weeks. Play number two, this one I may be reaching here, but Oracle and CRM, and really it reminded me of Micron because all three of these kind of moved together. Later stage earnings there, but Micron, they had that delayed earnings rip. Remember last week they reported they killed it, 2 standard deviations, and they came back down. Well, they started running. So I remember Oracle CRM, they were both kind of breaking out at highs there, all-time highs. Micron did the same and went up 20%. Kind of looking for a benefit there, but like I said, maybe it is a long shot. And then even today, Micron, they had a special benefit from that AMD and Intel news. AMD and Intel got clapped, kind of benefited Micron since they weren't mentioned there. So we'll see how all that stuff plays out. But Oracle CRM, all-time high plays. If we kind of meander, nothing changes, but you start watching some crazy all-time high breakouts, these are 2 I would keep on the list. So watch out for that. That is play number 2. And then finally, play number 3. This one is wild, man. I can't believe I'm up, I think, after today, 15% on Coinbase in the long term. And that's after, that was bad purchases and no good average downs. Yeah, I don't know if y'all feel me, but Coinbase, man, this should be added to the list of dollars. And what I mean by that is the stocks that just move big. Like NVIDIA, intraday dollars. Bro, last time I wanted to short this thing, it was at 190. Now it's at 280. So there's huge intraday swings if you want this. And even that 280 level is an absolute behemoth of a level for Coinbase, I'm pretty sure. I think if you go back IPO level, even to the last time they were here, yeah, man, 280, this is where they died from. They couldn't get past there in the early days after first die. When they got above it, they went 280 all the way back to 360. Things got wild. So crypto's going crazy. All of those crypto plays went nuts. I think Coinbase, man, if you have it in there, you're looking for some swings and some action, this is one to keep your eyes out. Other than that, gonna be watching gold, gonna be watching bonds, letting the plays come to us, and I really think this week should be chill. Some people are thinking bonds can outperform on the holidays, so hopefully it does. If not, though, I think we're gonna punt into maybe some bigger data. Maybe we get a surprise with the bond auction. Otherwise, we're not expected to move much. Keep punting until we get through the quarter and the new month. Maybe a black swan, but for now, keep riding the path. And that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure Hydra Healthy ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. And I need you to remember, if there is no enemy within, the enemy outside can't hurt you, baby. So stay in the game. Shout out to the long term, all the chads. Drink that water. Stay hydrated, healthy, all the good stuff, and get some good night's sleep. I love you. See you in the AM and Harna.